today I'm going to show you how to turn this into that. So I've been wanting flush mount taillights, and honestly, I'm not going to cut my body out as much as these aftermarket companies want you to, and I understand why. You can get adapters. It's a big square thing. It sticks out of the back of your Jeep, but it's just too bulky, and it would probably crush. Like if you hit something with it, it'd crush in the quarter panel. So what I'm going to do today is make a set of flush mount taillights that can be put in and taken out and put your stock taillights back in. There's going to be some minor cutting, but not enough to hurt the Jeep or mess up the stock taillight. This cost me like 35 bucks. I had some plates of aluminum laying around, and I went ahead and cut it out. And they're not perfect, but you know what? They look pretty good, and they'll pass inspection, and they are road legal. So let's get into this video, and I'll show you how I did it. So basically, this is a rough cutout on a piece of aluminum. The reason why I'm using aluminum is because it's easy to bend and it's easy to cut. So basically, I like my taillight a little bit lower. So it doesn't matter, you can center it if you want, but I want it a little bit lower, just to make it look right. As you can see, it's a rough template. It looks pretty rough, like it ain't gonna line up. But once you shave the corners off and make it round, it will line up. And then I use this because you're gonna need a 4.5 inch hole. So I traced around it like this, and then I'll clean all this up, and it'll be a perfect little template. And this I made for the holes. And you just need a little bit of fabrication skills. Clean this up, cut holes in it, round it off, and we'll be good to go. As you can see, I did very minimal cutting. I cut this bracket out that's right here, and I cut a little bit out right here, just to prove to you that the stock taillight does go back in with no issues. And it don't wiggle. Put the screws in right there, and it don't move, because this taillight has clips on the back. So as long as you keep this side somewhat full, this won't move around. So that just proves to you that you can run your stock taillight. So I went ahead and threw some paint on this so it don't rust. This is about all you got to cut out. And then we go ahead and plug your taillight in, and I'm going to mount my resistor back there somewhere. When it comes to the lighting side, this is the stuff that you're going to need. You're going to need a resistor. This keeps the Jeep from doing a fast blink. I wouldn't mind a fast blink. When it comes to the Wranglers, it always sends out a warning message on the dash, and it dings. So I'm going to put these in here. They're like $3. It comes with 2. And it comes with butt connectors that splice into your wiring, but I'm just going to wire this straight into the new tail light. So you're going to need that. You're going to need 2 of those, and make sure you mount these away from the wiring, because these do get, kind of warm. You're going to need to cut off the harness. Now, I have 2 sets of these because the way we're going to be doing this job today, if I want to go back to the stock tail lights, I can do that. I don't have to cut a bunch of sheet metal away where I can't run these again. So basically, I have another set of tail lights that the harnesses that are on, so I can just pop these out in the plate and put my stock tail lights back in. And that's what a lot of people want. They don't want to cut a bunch of sheet metal out, where they can't go back to the stock tail lights, because you never know. You might want to trade it in, or, something might come up down the road, and you want to put your stock tail lights back in. So what I did, I went ahead and got another set of stock tail lights, cut the harness off, and I figured out which wires go to where, which we'll get to that in a minute. Or just use your wiring harness and cut it kind of long, just in case you have to wire it back in. The taillights I went with are from Amazon. They have the reverse light already in them, and it has the blinker and the stop. They're not the greatest taillights, but honestly, I'm not looking for the greatest taillights. I just want them to function like they're supposed to, pass inspection, and, everything works. So when it comes to the wiring to your taillights, all of it's going to be different when it comes to your aftermarket taillight. I'm going to show you the wiring for your stock Jeep. Mostly all the JKs, this will cover, but this will give you a base on, what the wirings are. But when it comes to these, you'll have to figure this out yourself, which is pretty self-explanatory, because wherever you order them from usually has a diagram. These didn't come with anything, so I took a drill battery, probed them in there and seen which one was the the dimmest, the brightest, and which one the backup light was. So when it comes to wiring your taillights, there's 20 different ways you can do it. I use the factory tape because the JK harness has tape already right here. So I just went ahead and spliced into the JK harness. And if you want these taillights, they are pretty popular on Amazon. I've seen a lot of people run these at Jeep Fest, and they did get them from Amazon. So this would be your brake and turn. This would be your blue would be your running light, and this would be your reverse light. And of course, this is ground. This is what the wiring is on this particular light. Now, when it comes to your plug, it's pretty self-explanatory. When we're going to be looking at the plug, we're going to be looking at it like this, and you can turn it around and for reference. So I drew up a little diagram here of the plug, looking at it like this, right? So that's the top. You have all your pins. Now, some of these JKs have different pins on the bottom. One's over here, one's over here. Mine are all up here, and as you can see, there's one on the bottom right there. So if we look at our paper, you can see brake, turn. So that's the brake light and the turn signal, your running light, your ground, and your reverse lights. So I went ahead and wrote everything down right here. So your brake lights, this will cover your whole wiring harness for your stock brake plug, so you can wire it into your tail light. So basically, purple and white is your running light, yellow and white is your brake light, turn signal, your green and white, or white with a green stripe, is your reverse, and of course the black is ground. If you don't have those color schemes, a lot of time you can just go by the plug, like I did. So you're going to have, your brake and turn signal on your left. The middle is usually your running light, and the right is usually your ground. And sometimes your reverse light's over here, but mine is right here. As you can see, my color codes do match the paper when you come to the plug. So just keep that in mind, wiring up taillights. It's not super difficult, it's super easy. If you have a multimeter, you can do it also if you don't want to do this stuff and it gives you a headache, because a lot of people hate stuff like this. Now, when it comes to your resistor, you have to wire this in. Doesn't matter if it goes this way, this way. A lot of people say it matters. It don't. I wired them both either way, and they still work. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out which one is your brake and turn, and you have to ground it out. So what you got to do is go ahead and splice your resistor into your red wire and your ground. That would be for me. If you have these taillights, that'll be for you too. But like I said, it's got to be wired into your brake light and your turn signal. And what you do is just splice this side into there, and then splice your other side into there. And basically, that's how you do that, and it stops the hyper flash. That's basically it for the wiring side. As far as plugging it in, you just plug it in, and then drill your other holes right here, and then you put your taillight on. Don't forget to mount your resistor in there. That's basically it. They aren't the best, but you know what? They'll do. They're nice and flush with the body. Like I said, they're not perfect. I painted them gunmetal gray just to give it an offset look. I didn't want them black. Maybe in the future I'll paint them black, but maybe you can take this idea that I've done and you can do something totally better. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'm Cherokee Ronnie. Stay dirty, my friends.